And you know, I'm thinking to myself, my job isn't going to believe me anymore at this point, is it? Because, you know, this can't possibly happen to one person. Hi everyone. So when I did my last video, that you can't make this up, I thought I was done. I thought, you know, I put out that crazy story, which was true by the way, and nothing else that remarkable, outlandish, impossible to think of could have happened. Boy, was I wrong. So, of course, I thought I would sit down and share it with you all because I like sharing the craziness that is my life. Do you see this face? This is a face of pure exhaustion, mentally, physically. That's not why we're here. We're here for me to share one of the most absurd stories that you've ever heard. I'm going to put on some ears. I finally found some, and if I look, yeah, I kind of do look ridiculous with this on, don't I? Okay, so maybe I'll just pull my hair back. Yeah, that's not working so well either. So maybe I'll pull my hair back and put on the ears. So where, oh where, oh where do I start? So because I am the most scatterbrained person, not only on this platform, but on the planet, by the way, I'm going to try to link the first video above because that video was all about my car problems and the absurdness that occurred. So this is also again about the car problems, and some of that happened immediately after I got that video up. This is the Essence Hydro Hero Primer. I just got this for my video, which is the full face of Essence. I liked and have been using so many of those products. I will say that the foundation is a challenge because I noticed how yellow that foundation was on me, and it does take a lot of mixing to get it to the right color. Luckily, it was not expensive, and when I have time to mix it, I do because it was definitely a nice foundation. This has such an amazing, like, cucumber fresh scent. I love it. I'll give you a really quick recap of what happened. I had many car problems, some that were misdiagnosed. My car went back and forth from different dealerships. I almost got killed like twice because my car would just shut off. It was a nightmare. And the end of that video stated that I only needed a battery. And I said, oh my goodness, thank the Lord that this happened and I was saved a fortune. Well, I was not actually saved that fortune. So I'm going to use my AIA Beauty number 23. I'm also using my Lunan Aster under eye concealer. No, it's not a concealer, it's a color corrector, which is fabulous. So, after that video went up, I really thought I was fine. I had the new battery, I thought it would be okay. Well, about 4 days after I got the battery, I was in my garage and I went to start the car and it didn't start. I'm like, oh my goodness, did I leave like the lights on or something like that? The battery died because, as I said, I'm scatterbrained. I didn't think that I did, but I'm trying to like make excuses to see why, right? We're able to jumpstart my car and it was fine. Okay, great. I get out to my car, go out to lunch, and on the way back, my car is doing some strange things. Hesitating, my stereo would go off. I'm like, this isn't possible. My car just like does that thing and turns off again. Luckily, I'm in the parking lot, so it is not a problem. Well, it's a problem, but not a huge problem. When I got out of work, my car started again, but I'm like, you know what? I can't take the chance of this happening. And I didn't want to go through another tow. So I attempt to drive to the dealership. Didn't quite make it because the car did that whole stop on, you know, wherever it feels like stopping thing, and I had to have it towed. Luckily, the tow came fairly quickly, and I got my car to the dealership. Then, of course, I had to go over and rent another car. They get back to me in a couple of days. I thought maybe I got a bad battery, you know, because remember that in the first video I explained that I had gone to Mavis and they had originally told me that it was the alternator. And then when I got to Hyundai, they was like, no, it's not the alternator. We have a much better diagnostic system than Mavis, so we're correct. When I finally get the call from the dealership, they're like, yeah, you need an alternator. And at that minute, my heart sunk, and then I got mad. And I said to the guy, what do you mean I need an alternator? I brought the car in, you said you ran a diagnostic, and it wasn't the alternator, you said it was just a battery. He goes, well, we actually didn't run a full diagnostic. Excuse me? I said, hello, you told me that you ran the full diagnostic and that Mavis was crazy because they didn't have the sophisticated diagnostic system that you did. So who was lying there? At that point, they'd already gotten the over $400, almost $500 for a new battery out of me, and now I was going to have to pay a fortune to get the alternator. So Mavis, they don't know what they're doing, not a full diagnostic, not a sophisticated diagnostic machine, they were correct. And at that point, I could have saved myself a lot of money. Remember, when I initially called Hyundai, they said that the alternator was covered. That's why I didn't have it done at Mavis, because it was less expensive at Mavis than what I wound up paying at the dealership. And of course, I did it again. I can never remember my steps when I'm talking and doing these videos. I will inevitably just forget a step or 12, depending upon how you look at it. This is the In Beauty project, the Face Glaze Bronze. It works fabulously in my foundation. So now I'm just going to tap it on here for just a little bit of color, because why not? When it comes down to it, my NYX Bear With Me concealer, and then the Neo Blend concealer from Toy Factory. I like it, but the color's just a little off. That's why I have to combine it. By the way, I'm going to use my Lottie London Oil Slick, which is a really nice lip oil. I've been enjoying it. So now you realize that each time I have to rent a car, they always put a hold on your card. And also remember, I don't have a credit card with room on it, so I always have to use my debit card. They put a hold of $300, which means I don't have access to the $300. Let me tell you, since I've lived here, my landlords must think I'm rich or something, because I've had like 3 or 4 different cars over the last 2 months, and I think it's hysterical. I'm going to use the Keep Me Covered powder from Essence. Even though it's broken, of course I'm going to use it. The hardest part is the lack of communication. When every day it's costing you more money in a rental car, and you're so anxious because you just want your life to go back to normal. The lack of communication adds significantly to your stress. Like, I didn't hear anything the next day, and then I called twice the day after, and I was told that somebody would get back to me. And whenever I say that somebody get back to me, considering their last communication with the last time I had my car there, which was, just 5 days before that, I wasn't completely confident in their ability, to get back to me. I'm using the Decay Velvetizer underneath my eyes because it has consistently worked for me. Let me get rid of these creases. So finally somebody does get back to me and tells me that it would probably be ready in about 3 days. Again, which just makes my heart sink, because I'm bleeding money at this point, and the amount of stress that it causes me. When you don't have a backup or any type of emergency fund, not because of your overspending or your irresponsibility with money or anything else, just because everything is so high that you live paycheck to paycheck and life just happens and it sucks everything away from you. When emergencies happen, it hits hard. I'm going to use the same brush that I did last time. I'm going to use my Essence Contour Duo that, again, I've been enjoying. Granted, this is just a little bit dark, but I just blend it out. And finally, I have the opportunity to go pick up my car. They tell me it's ready. But of course, I always find out at the end of the workday, which means if I don't want to get charged for my rental one more day, I now have to scramble to go and return the car to the rental place. And every time I return the car to the rental place, then I have to take an Uber over to the dealership, and I have to get there before everybody closes. I know what it is, but I'm venting. That's what this is. I'm having a venting session. I'm also using the Huda Beauty Glowish Bronzer. It is really light. You just want a little bit of something. I think it works perfectly well for that. It may be a little bit light for the camera, But like, you know, when I go outside and I look in the mirror, I think it's enough. There's a big difference between doing your makeup for the camera and then doing it for every day. Oh, by the way, I am using, again, my Essence blush, the Pure Nude, and this is in Rosy Rosewood. I get to the dealership, as I said, right under the nose, and I have this trepidation about what they're going to tell me. So they said, yeah, they changed the alternator, everything's good, right? And then he pulls out the bill. $1,700 including the taxes and all of these fees. I don't know where they get these fees from. It's like there's a sneezing fee, I had to go to the bathroom fee. I'm making those up, of course, but that's like what it seems like to me. If I don't have a car, I can't get to work. It's not like I can take public transportation where I am. So now I say to myself, okay, the worst is done. I know there are other things I need, but at least my car is going to run. It's going to be okay. I can wait for other things that the car needs. I'm not going to have a problem for a while. I should probably never ever say those things to myself. At first, when I drive the car off the lot, it seems fine. Remember I was talking about my car and I was like, it's only 5 years old? My car is actually 7 years old. For me, like the whole COVID timeline, losing my sister, my mom, my dad, my perception of time has gone out the freaking window. My car is a 2017, it's now 2024. That's 7 years. And I still only have now I have 56,000 plus miles on it. At the time I had barely 55. So having the car for as long as I have, you get to know your car. Using a combination of the ABH Brow Wiz, which I'm almost done, and the Urban Decay Brow Blade. Still trying to make that liquid side work, which, still haven't accomplished that, but I do use the pencil side, which works fairly well. It's light enough for in here. I forgot that I had this because I keep thinking that it's just the liquid on this one, but it's not. You know, I'm driving my car and I'm saying to myself, it should be running fine. This is your imagination. You just spent all of this money on your car. It's fine. You know, it's just fine. Let us just say that no, it wasn't. I really want to play with this Chica Beauty Fiesta palette. It looked so cute. It looks like it's good quality. It's cute, petite, and tiny, and maybe I will even go out of my comfort zone and play with these beautiful greens. But first, let's lay down a base. I'm going to take this pretty cream color. I looked at the names online because I can't read them here. They have all of these adorable names. I think I mentioned one of them is churro. I love churros. Dunkin Donut makes a churro donut, and I'm extremely happy about that. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Using the Mega Shading Brush from Wing Me. So as the day goes on, you know, I would notice that when I was stepping on the brake, it was doing weird things. I didn't quite have a lot of power. It would hesitate a lot when I'd be a light or if I had to go uphill. I'm like, oh goodness, please don't tell me I need brakes. Please don't tell me I need alignment. Please don't tell me that I need all of these things. I noticed this over about 3 to 4 weeks since I had gotten my battery changed. I was going to take this darker orange. So anyway, 2 to 3 times I noticed that when I got in the car to start it, normally when I have a push button. Normally when I hit the push button, I step on the brake, which was what you have to do. The car starts. A couple of times it didn't do that. It would like push my seat back, which is what it does because I have like an auto setting, but it wouldn't turn on. And then like I had to do it 2 or 3 times before the engine started. The first time I was like, oh, okay, I did something wrong. The second and third time I was like, this is a little suspicious. But again, you know, I'm thinking to myself, it's going to be just fine because that's what my psyche needed to do. Well, the other day, as a matter of fact, I know exactly what day it was. It was Thursday because we did have an early release day. So anyway, I leave my house at the time that I'm supposed to leave to give myself enough time to stop for a cup of coffee and get to work on time. So I turn the car off, I go in, I get my coffee, and I come back out and push the start button and nothing happens. Like, okay, I did it wrong again or whatever. Push start button, nothing happens. Push the start button, nothing happens. Should I say that I pushed the start button and nothing happened like another time? Or you think I would have known by now? to like, oh, you must be kidding me. I got a bad battery, and now I need a jump start until I can get my car to the dealership. No. So I figured, let me pop the hood, and then I'm going to ask somebody if they have jumper cables, because it's a very busy parking lot and people going in and out. I'm going to take this green color. It could be a disaster, it could not be a disaster. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. Actually quite pretty. So anyway, I popped the hood. I said that 3 times as well too, but I keep getting distracted. Now, you know, modern day cars, there's a lot more different things than, you know, the old clunkers that I had when I was growing up. You know, I used to have to bang underneath my car on my starter motor to make it last a few more thousand miles than it actually should have. So I go to look at the battery, and most batteries in modern day cars, they have these flip covers over the terminals for the battery so they don't get corroded, you know, with rain or whatever. Well, one of them was missing the cover. I'm like, well, that's odd. Maybe it fell off, whatever. Maybe it was never there. I don't know. You know, honestly, I didn't think to pop the hood and check the mechanics work after I got my car back. Not something that I thought I had to do. And what I also notice on the terminal that is missing the cover is that it looks charred, burnt around the terminal and the connection. That's not supposed to be there. I don't ever recommend doing this. I touched the connector that just is supposed to be tightened down around the post, which is on the battery. I picked up the connectors and it lifted right off the post. And then of course it sparked because you're talking about, you know, electrical things. And I said, that's why I don't ever suggest doing that, because, you know, who knows what could happen. So I'm just telling you what I did. It's not supposed to lift off the post. It's supposed to be tightened down on the post so that there's a proper connection with the positive and negative side. So it gives you power in your car to, you know, do things like drive. The first thought that I had was, because there was power in my car, I could turn on the radio, the lights would come on, so it wasn't the battery. The battery didn't burn out. But if you do not have a proper connection, the power will arc. The battery was trying so hard to draw power into the car, but it didn't have enough because there was not a proper connection, so it couldn't get all the power that it needed. So it arced, which means it sent like an electrical shock through the battery, which is what burned the battery post. When that happens, it can do a lot of things. And what I thought is, like, when you push the button and it doesn't start or click, usually the click is either the battery or the alternator. When it does nothing, it's probably the starter. And that happening to a battery when it arcs like that will absolutely burn out a starter motor. You know, I've been crying a lot lately, especially when it comes to my car. And again, now I'm in a situation where I have to be at work, and I just know I'm not going to make it on time. And you know, I'm thinking to myself, my job isn't going to believe me anymore at this point, is it? Because, you know, this can't possibly happen to one person. Trust me, it can. So while I'm waiting there, I see a man pull up, and I say, "Excuse me, sir, do you happen to have jumper cables?" Because maybe, I kind of skipped over the story a little bit. At first, I wanted to see if I could jump start the car, right? And maybe it would work. Well, the guy didn't have jumper cables, but he said, "You know what? I live 10 minutes from here. Let me go and get them, and I'll be right back." I was like, wow, that is so kind. Thank you so, so much. As I was sitting there, a person in a really nice fancy Mercedes pulls up. "Do you need a jump?" I was like, I honestly don't know. I know that somebody said they're going to go get some jumper cables, but, you know, I don't know what else to do at this point. And he goes, "Well, let me call somebody who works on my cars all the time." And he goes, "And I'll see if you can come here and try to help you." So he speaks to a girl. He's got it on speakerphone. She's like, "Oh, he's really slammed. You just, you know, do me the favor." He goes, "You know, can you come? I'm trying to help this girl. She's stuck on the side of, you know, over here." So while I'm there with the guy in the Mercedes, the other guy had said that he would go get his jumper cables. He comes back, oh, well, let's see if it'll jump start. It doesn't start, which was kind of what I expected, just a little bit. Thank you so much for trying. And the guy in the Mercedes says, I got my guy coming. Hopefully he'll be able to, get her going. The first guy was just definitely being nice. He didn't expect anything in return. So a few minutes later, the guy shows up, and you can tell he's a mechanic, and he's got his jumper box with him. I was like, oh, okay, well, we tried to start it. It's like, just let me try anyway. So he tries, and of course it doesn't work. So he's looking at the battery, he goes, wow, this doesn't look good. It's charred like this. It's like, yeah, I know. it's definitely not good. I didn't bring any flat brushes, but I'm going to try this metallic on my eye with my finger, and wow, that's going on really beautifully. You could get it towed over to my garage. The guy owns the garage. Honestly, I want to have it towed to the dealership, I said, because I just had the battery changed 3-4 weeks ago. This is ridiculous. This is not supposed to happen. And the guy was like, yeah, no, absolutely, it most certainly shouldn't happen. Okay, it's got a little bit of space, not on so much on this eye space, but I don't know, maybe I just didn't apply correctly. Could be my hooded eyes. Let's see if this helps. I said, I appreciate it. I really need to get it to the dealership, And he goes, yeah, no, I understand. I'm sorry, I couldn't help you. I was like, no, that's no problem. And what's funny is when the guy with the Mercedes had called them, there was a woman on the phone. I guess he was his receptionist or whatever. And she was like, oh, can I, just get her name and her telephone number? Sure, no problem. The guy from the body shop, I keep saying body shop, from the whatever you want to call it. Here's my address and my phone number. If you need any help, he goes, I'm on the expensive side, he said, but I'm never going to steal your wrong. I was like, no, I really, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Told the guy with the Mercedes, I was like, thank you so much for calling him. I really, really appreciate it. He was like, listen, I gotta go, but I hope everything works out. At this point, I had already called the tow truck, roadside assistance through my insurance company. Okay, people tried to help me. I appreciate it so much. Now I'll just wait for the tow truck. Obviously, I'm either going to be super late from work or I'm going to have to take, a sick day. Not an ideal situation, right? Yeah, this Essence liner, by the way, it was so hard to get off, which may be good for some people, but I was there the next day, and by the next night it was still there. It's a very long-wearing liner. If that's something that you are looking for, just saying. The Mercedes guy leaves, and he gives me his card. I was like, again, thank you so very much for helping me. You have no idea. It means a lot to me. I appreciate it. Waiting for the tow truck now. And I get this text, hi, it's so-and-so from so-and-so mechanic. I was like, oh, hi, please click on this link, your bill is ready. I said to myself, what bill? So I click on it, and there's a bill from the mechanic who stopped by, for the 5 minutes, because the Mercedes guy just said, do me a favor, come down and check out this girl's car for me, using the Beauty Creations setting spray that I really kind of picked out for my last thing because I didn't know what else to pick. Guess what? Essence eyeshadow primer. Like, wait a minute. I didn't ask this guy to come down. I thought the Mercedes guy was calling in a favor and asking the guy to just come down and help me. I mean, I would have told him, no, I'll just wait for the tow truck if I thought I was going to have to pay for it. So I was a little, how do I put it, pissed? I'm bleeding money as it is. I don't need another bill from a guy who came to look at my car because somebody asked him to do so. And, I cannot stand up for myself. I suck at it. That's why I let people just walk all over me and take advantage of me because, I haven't learned how to stand up for myself. I could have said, oh my goodness, I thought somebody was doing me a favor, but I didn't, so now I haven't paid. I texted her back, I was like, look, my bank account is on empty at this point. I said, I will pay it, of course. I said, but I just need a few days to do so until I get paid. Every time I get a paycheck, it goes out the door and my other bills don't get paid. I wanted to use my Ace Beauté, the liquid blush, which I really liked the other day when I tried it on. Of course I didn't. I'm also using my YSL Volume Mascara. This is just a sample. I did not go out and purchase this, of course I wouldn't. Of Great. So now I have another bill that I have to pay and take care of. And I said, I don't know. Tell me, would you guys be pissed off? Maybe I'm just crazy. So now I am waiting for the tow truck, and there's like an app so you can see how long the tow truck is going to take. And it gives you basically a countdown, which is convenient. Kind of like a little map to show you where he is. Now, of course, they always say, like I said the last time, up to 180 minutes. The last time it wasn't 180 minutes. I remember the guy was going to leave because I wasn't there. So I'm like, okay, I'm definitely not going to leave my car. It probably won't be 180 minutes. And, I don't want to miss him. All I can say is also, thank goodness I was at a Dunkin Donuts where there was a bathroom. You'll understand that by the end of this video. So I'm waiting. And I'm waiting. And I'm watching the countdown, okay. Stressing out, tired. I keep going in, getting cup after cup after cup of coffee. I can't tell you how much I spent at that Dunkin Donuts in one day. More money that I shouldn't have spent. So as I'm watching the countdown, then it gets to, say, 1 minute. So I'm like, okay, I'm out of the car. I'm thinking about what I'm going to grab, etc. Make sure, because I, in my stupid infinite wisdom, thought I would also be able to ride in the tow truck with the guy. No. And when 20 minutes goes by, I'm like, this is weird. Now I was getting text messages saying, your driver's on his way. He should be there any time now. And the minutes are going by. So I called. What I understood later on is that the roadside assistance program that I have, they outsource. I'll see who picks up the job. I explained that I've been waiting for quite some time, and it said a minute now for the past 25. Now it was 30 minutes. And he goes, oh, okay, let me see where he is, and I'll get back to you. 15 minutes goes by. 30 minutes goes by. At that time, I call him back, say, hey, you said that somebody was going to call me. Maybe you said the tow truck driver was on his way, whatever. He goes, yeah, you should be there in about another 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm basically going to give you guys 3 guesses as to what didn't happen in those, 15 minutes or so. And I just threw that on the floor. I want to use this Give Beauty lipstick in... Don't have my glasses on. Maybe you guys can see. And I will show you what the color looks like on my hand. I really liked the color. I'm going to fast forward the story quite a bit of time. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, nobody's going to believe this at work. They're going to think I'm making up a story because this can't possibly be true or be happening. So I've been texting my coworkers and my principal because, again, I don't think people are going to believe me. Okay, so obviously I finished my makeup before I finished the story, so let me tell you the juicy end of this story. I've been back and forth on the phone with these people over and over and over again. I called the 800 number. I called the place that had the tow truck coming. They were not even picking up the phone at this point because they were tired of me calling, and they probably recognized my number. Let me skip ahead and tell you how long I waited for that tow truck. 7 hours. 7 hours. 7 hours in my car waiting for this tow truck. I'm taking off my ears because that's what I think gave me the headache. Just what if I was on the side of the road and had no access to a bathroom, to something to eat, something to drink? Can you imagine what that had been like? So now that the tow truck driver has shown up, now I have to get an Uber to come get me and take me down to the dealership, which is quite a bit ways away because I used to live closer to said dealership than I do now. When I get to the dealership, and I asked to speak to a manager because the last time I had my car fixed, I wanted to speak to the general manager because of all of the problems that I had. That's not acceptable. So I'm sitting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And then this person walks by. Goes, are you being helped? It's like, yeah, actually when you speak to the manager, and he goes, oh, hi, I'm the manager. My name is, almost gave his name. I'm going to call him Daniel. We'll just make up a name. This was the actual manager of the service department, which, not the general manager, but, I'll take it. And I said, I'm sorry that this is going to be a long and drawn-out story, but I would like to start with the beginning and then work my way up until today and what happened. Go through the entire story, going back to how they misdiagnosed my car. I think they got me to spend more money than I should have. Now, here's my other conspiracy theory, is that by not connecting the battery, I mean, because any competent mechanic, even an incompetent mechanic, first year out of trade school can change a battery. And what gets me is I think in my mind that they saw me as a dumb girl. They can probably get away with some stuff with. And what I mean by that is that they do know that not connecting the battery properly to the post will cause it to arc, which will cause one of the most popular things that will happen is that it'll burn out your starter. Because it happened like 4 weeks after, by the time I got my car there, they would probably say, oh, yeah, your starter motor was on its way out too, so now you need a starter motor. Is that completely conspiracy? Yes. Am I still going along with the conspiracy? Yes. So then I work my way up until the day. I tell them what a horrendous day it was, although it's not their problem that it took 7 hours to get the car there. It just compounded the experience. And I told them about what happened with the battery. When I popped the hood, I was like, that's not supposed to happen. It actually could have caused a fire if it arced probably while I was driving. And he's like, actually agreeing with me. He goes, it's complete incompetence. That is our fault, and I'm going to take care of the cost. So, I was grateful for that, but I still had to pay for the Uber going over there. Now they needed 5 days for my car. So now I have the expense of the 5 days for the rental. Granted, I'm still going to get that $300 back, but remember, it takes 3 to 5 business days to get that $300 back. Of course, when I return that car, then I have to take an Uber from the car rental place over to the dealership. And first of all, that first Uber cost me $45. Uber from the dealership over to the car rental place in the first place cost me about $20. Then it's going to cost me about another $20 to get back. It's just racking up and adding. And then the cost of the rental itself. I mean, I just keep going through this going, you can't make this shit up. You know what I didn't do, my friends? I didn't put on highlighter. If I'm going to do a full face, I want to do a full face. I do have this Bobbi Brown highlighter in Pink Glow. It's very interesting because this is like a modeled highlighter, which I kind of like, but there's only like one little section here of the lighter, icier one, and there's like the bronzier section. And if you're going to do one of these model things, don't make it 3/4 or more of one bronze and then just have that little bit in there, because you're not going to get a nice mixture of it. But let's put this on. Let's put the icing on the cake. Okay. Anyway, I think that's where I'm going to end my story, because I don't think I can give you any more information that you wouldn't believe as well.
Well, my friends, I can't believe I'm saying this, and you're definitely not going to believe it, but things actually got worse a few days later. I cannot believe that I have to do this, but stay tuned for part 3.
I still look like crud because I'm still exhausted and worn down. I want to thank you guys for listening again. You're all amazingly wonderful people that I'm so incredibly grateful for, and I'll see you in my next one. I do not want a part 3. Please let me not have a part 3. All right, guys. See you soon. Bye.